Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Following a critically acclaimed, sold-out run at London's Royal Court Theatre, Carey Mulligan returns to the New York stage in Dennis Kelly's new one-woman play called Girls and Boys, directed by Lyndsey Turner. It begins performances on June 12th at the Minetta Lane Theatre, and we caught up with Carey Mulligan here at Sardi's during a break in rehearsal. You're about to return to the New York stage.
Yeah.
How excited are you?
Like 90% excited, 30% quite scared.
What can you tell us about the play and who you play without giving too much away?
Gosh, it's all so vague. So I play she's called Woman in the text, but she doesn't have a name. And it's a story about, she starts telling a story about her family, about how she met her husband, about her life, her work life. And then it takes a sort of slightly darker turn.
Let's talk about Dennis Kelly. What an incredible writer. Like when you first got the piece and you were creating this with him, what was it like being in the rehearsal room?
Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, I read it, I got sent it, and it said Dennis Kelly at the Royal Court, and I just dropped my phone and I started reading it on my phone. And then I got about halfway through and felt like I'd been punched in the gut, which is a pretty familiar Dennis Kelly experience. He knows how to do that to an audience. But yeah, I mean, he's amazing, and the way that he writes is just so intimate and colloquial, and but there's so much passion in there. And but she's such an extraordinary character, and I'm so excited to get to play her again, because writing like this just doesn't come up very often, especially new writing.
I remember talking to Vanessa Redgrave, and she was doing the Joan Didion play, and she said rehearsals was so weird because it's just you in there with a director and a writer. What was that time like for you in like that first few shows in front of an audience? Yeah,
so I banished Dennis Kelly from the room for about 2 weeks in rehearsals. It's a weird thing because you don't have anyone to pretend with, and that's all we're doing is pretending. And pretending on your own is a lot harder. And so the rehearsals were a little bit weird, and then I felt like this complete relief when finally there were lots of people watching, because it felt like it made sense now. It doesn't really make sense on your own in a room. It doesn't really make sense to two people. It makes sense when you have 400, 500 people, because you get so much from them, and they become the other character in the play, really.
It must be so great and scary at the same time, like being up there by yourself, but it must be so great when everything's going perfect.
When everything's going perfect, it's like flying, and it's so fun, and you come off and feel like a legend, and it's just really exciting, exhilarating. You feel like, God, I've just done this crazy magic trick, I can't believe I pulled it off. But then there's the moments where I remember Jake, Gyllenhaal, who I did, this buddy of mine, we did a movie together. He came to sit in London, and he came at the end of the first week of the run, and we'd gotten through press night, but I was so tired, and I got halfway through the play and I started a bit of the monologue, and I thought immediately, I've already done this bit. I've done this bit. Should I shut up? Should I carry on? I don't know what to do. So I paused, and I think it felt like about 20 seconds. It was probably more like 5. And then I went, I've just got to keep going. So I just carried on. I got through. I didn't know if I'd made a mistake. And then afterwards, it turns out I hadn't. And I said, with that bit, where I went up and I just couldn't. And he was like, I thought that was like a thing. I thought that was like a dramatic moment. And that's when I realised I could get away with anything when I was doing a monologue, which is quite empowering, because you suddenly think no one knows this story. There's no Bill Nye on stage with me I'm just solely responsible. So in a way, the scary stuff is also a massive bonus, because you think I can control the pace of this in a really exciting way.
We can't wait. It's being produced by Audible. I'm really excited. Talk about the audio version. That you're doing that now? Yeah,
we started it in London. We're going to finish it out here. I think it's just such a great thing. It's similar to NT Live, which you have out here, right? My great aunt, who lives in Carmarthenshire in Wales, hasn't been able to come to London for a long time, but she'll be able to listen to this, which I just love, and I think that making theatre accessible to people in that kind of way is just such an exciting thing. So it was a great experience. The play was sort of, in performance, the mode had to be more like you were talking to one person than 400 people, which is really, and Dennis's writing just translates to that so easily, because it's so familiar, and the way that he writes is so intimate. So it really feels like in the audio version I'm just telling the story to one person, and that was kind of fun to do.